We're here. Coming on in a second.
Far left. Turn it. There we are. Hey, everybody.
All the way? No,
Just in the middle.
Okay.
What's up, everybody?
How's it going? Hopefully you guys have had a great week. Or half a week. Almost half a week. This is a short week for most of us. With Thanksgiving.
But it's been a full week since we talked to you guys last time.
Yeah.
So, anyway, my name is Paul.
And I'm Jenny.
And if you don't know who we are, we're Paul and Jenny from the Go Box and Van Gogh Artist Bar in Portland, Oregon. And we got a fun painting we're going to work on tonight. I'm going to take the reins and yeehaw, ho, ho, ho.
Yep, Paul's turn to teach. So last week you guys got to do the ornaments with me. That was really fun.
That was a good one.
And I saw some of your postings on our Go Box Art Crate group page on Facebook. They turned out really good.
They did.
Really, really good.
I was really impressed with how those turned out.
Me too. I was really happy. It was a longer than I thought it would be painting. But it ended up looking so good, and it was fun. It was fun to escape to the holidays.
But we got from the start to the finish, and that's what's important.
We did.
Hopefully we get start and finish today, because I slept really late last night editing videos.
Yes, you did. So if you are on our page, you'll see the red truck video that was just uploaded last night. That's a red truck driving a decorated Christmas tree through a snow scene in the woods. Very insanely popular. We've been shipping kits for those all week long, and the orders keep coming in, so that's great. I appreciate you guys supporting us while we have to be closed due to COVID, and those orders coming in are such a big deal. So thank you so much for those of you guys who are supporting us that way. We really, really appreciate it. And we do have some cool news. Let's tell them what happened the other day. Can you remember? It has to do with YouTube.
Oh. Well, this was again one of those things that got lost in the middle of the night. We hit 1,000 subscribers.
Woo! Yeah.
Yay!
1,000.
So, I guess the challenge is Paul operating on very little to no sleep and teaching the painting. Yay!
I guess so. So yeah, thank you guys for liking, subscribing, all that. It's pretty amazing how fast it went from 500 to 1,000. That was fun to watch. He loves numbers, so he really enjoyed. He would call out like at least 2-3 times a week.
Yeah.
We're at 841. We're at
So the Hales are watching. Hello.
Hi.
Hail to the Hales. And,
hail to the Hales, Wyoming. Curious if you guys have snow there. I think I saw one of your posts on Facebook that you did, maybe, unless I'm confusing with
and Derek's going to add an elk to his painting.
Oh, that would be really great.
So
Let's show the painting.
Okay.
Hold it up. Oh, you want me to zoom?
Yeah, you can
Okay.
zoom it.
Here we go.
This is definitely a perfect elk painting. A perfect painting to add an elk to. So this is a cool painting. I kind of feel like it's a continuation of last month's Old Birch Road.
Yeah, I was going to see if it's in here.
Yeah,
I'll take a look.
She's going to jump up and run around. But we're going to talk about it. So, to me, it's not in here. Okay, she looks really hard. This painting to me is really, this one's really about layers. Out of all the paintings that we've done, this is the most layer-centric painting, I think, where we really kind of paint the whole painting in monochromatic lavender and violet, and then we kind of come in and start adding highlights and yellows and orange and red to kind of build up our layers so that we end up with our finished painting. This painting is, the other thing that's really cool about this painting, and this is one of the ones that sometimes when I see the photos of this one, I feel like the sky is so light you don't see how purple it actually is. Mm-hmm. So it's a really, really harsh contrast from the background to the foreground. But anyway, so this one's going to be a good one really to learn about negative space. And it's a good one about learning about layering and using tones to start building up depth. So I think should we start off with a little toast?
Yeah, we are drinking Avid Cider Orange Creamsicle tonight.
It is
yummy.
Really, actually very tasty. Cheers.
Cheers.
And drink.
You can't copy.
I didn't copy anybody. It was a spin. It was a total spin. All right. So this painting's really cool. We're going to start off with, I'm going to move. I've got
you found a sheet.
I did. I told you that.
Where did you find it at?
On the table.
Nice. Okay.
I
Yeah,
told
we
you
thought
that
we
like
did-
3 times, and you're like, I'm still looking for him.
After 24 years of marriage, I can tune you out.
And you do.
So Paul will probably deviate from the instruction sheet. I know we say this every time because it's true. It's with drying time. We would teach it differently in class on the stage. And so if you're checking him against those pictures, you're going to find he's probably going to...
Oops, I bumped the...
I noticed. He's probably going to deviate a bit.
So, I mean, here's our instructions. Realistically, it's actually I would not deviate very far from this.
Yeah.
Just because of the way it's built up. So let's go ahead and get started. What we're going to get used to tonight is we're going to get used to using our big brush at first. So go ahead and take your biggest brush and rinse it.
And what colors we got here?
Well, the colors we've got as a whole or in general?
Just here on this painting. Your palette.
Yep. So our palette is our primary. Basically, it's our Go Box core colors. We got our sapphire blue, daffodil yellow, ruby red, white, and black. This painting is, it really doesn't have very much black in it at all. Just a little tiny bit.
I kind of loaded up the palette a little bit.
Yeah.
More than is needed.
So, are we getting new bottles next month?
Yeah.
So we've got a new bottles next month. So that'll be easier to squeeze, you guys. So it'll be easier to control the flow of paint.
Yeah, those little squat bottles were...
Let's be honest, they suck.
We didn't like them. So we got some new ones that are,
We got new ones.
Are much better, and happy to send those out in the next shipment for your 3-month supply.
Yeah. So some of it, well, for those of you who are getting new paint in December. Anyway, so most of this painting at the beginning is just going to be this combination of red, blue, and white. And I'm going to mix up. I'm going to start with blue. Now, when we're mixing up a lavender or a violet, I feel like most people tend to stick a little bit too red.
Yeah, this looks like it's a blue or violet in the painting, or
Yep.
blue or lavender.
Yep, and so I'm going to mix this up a bit more. Now, we're not going to need a lot of this color to start, because with the sky, we want to keep it nice and light. But probably what we're going to do is we're just going to start around the perimeter of it. I don't want to tone it down. Sometimes I would want to tone paint down, but not on this one. All right, so what I'm going to start off doing is we're going to start on the outer perimeter of the top. Oh, it's about half. One of these days we'll stick to the 30, the thirds. But I'm just going to kind of start with this color. Now, if you get started and you feel like, hey, this color looks really red to me, wipe your brush off, mix up a little bit more blue into it. But
with the sky, it's okay to have some streaks of blue or red in there.
Yeah, I'm just going to kind of really lightly get some smudges on out here. This is like, if you're type A, I apologize for this beginning.
You're painting like Pigcasso. So you guys, there's this Instagram pig that paints, and his name is Pigcasso. I highly recommend following. It's really fun.
So once we've got this color smudged on here, I'm going to go ahead. I'm not going to worry about rinsing my brush yet. I'm just going to grab some white, and I'm just going to start brushing all over, letting it mix in. Now, if you were to leave it really choppy, it would make a really kind of cool, almost kind of stormy vibe.
Maybe I'll do that.
You can do that. Or if you want to just smooth it out, just brush more. And
Although it can look kind of ominous with these woods, like you're just like trying to hike and you got this big storm coming. And
hey, sometimes that's when you really get hiking.
yeah, I listen to a lot of podcasts about lost hikers that have never been found. So I'm like, I'm gonna do mine kind of calm and serene, I think.
I think anybody who's spent any time out in nature, on hikes, hunting, fishing, those types of things, we have had that race with Mother Nature
Yeah.
to get back to a vehicle or a roof or even a tree or anything that provides shelter.
I think I remember a time in at the Johnson's Ranch
Oh, yeah.
that we had that. Metolius River, is that where that is?
That was over more Madras area.
Okay.
Antelope. Between Madras and Antelope.
Oh.
So
So
this,
you're doing a big sunburst in the middle.
it's not really a sunburst. I don't want to call it anything other than just a light glow.
A light glow in the middle.
Yeah.
That's where the UFO abduction is going to happen.
It absolutely is. So initially, this is going to feel darker than it actually is. So if you're feeling like, wow, this is too dark, that's okay. When we start adding our other colors, we're going to increase this contrast. We're going to bring it up a notch. To steal something from somebody else on TV.
Kick it up a notch.
Hey, bam, boom.
I don't know if many people know
Who Emerald Lagasse is?
Come anymore.
on.
I mean, we do. People in our age group
Yeah.
and older.
Hey, I saw the age demographics. Who watches our videos? They know who Emerald Lagasse is.
You guys know who Emerald is.
Yeah.
50 I was going to say 50 Shades of Garlic.
What?
That would be a really funny cooking channel name.
I think we need to talk about your daydreams.
50 Shades of Garlic.
You're thinking about Emerald in different ways.
Mm-mm.
All right.
Oh, no.
So next thing we're going to do is I'm going to just leave that like that. We're going to mix up some more of that dark color. So again, blue and red. I feel like I get about the right mix with about 2 parts blue is what it feels like to me. About-ish, kind of, maybe.
And we're making the same color?
Same color.
Okay.
Same dark color.
Oh, the dark color.
Yeah.
Well, yours doesn't look very dark.
Well, it's getting there.
Okay.
I added a little too much white. I don't want it to be pure dark color, so I want some white added in there so we've got some depth to work with. And basically all we're going to do is we're just going to fill this in. And one thing I like to do is when I'm doing like this part right now is I really like to give it a like a soft edge where it comes together with the sky. I know we're going to create a hard edge, but I think it's just a good habit to get into.
So you get this by mixing the wet on wet colors and
Yep.
repeatedly going over and over your line till your brush is kind of running out of paint.
COVID. Sorry. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Bad joke.
That's a really bad joke. Good lord.
It's a habit.
So our horizon line's about close to the middle, a little below middle, it looks like. I think I put mine.
It's a little below.
I put mine a little higher.
We kind
than
of
yours.
don't necessarily stick to that rule of thirds so as well as we should.
Speak for yourself.
Yeah, right. I've seen all your paintings. All right. So one of the things you can do too, see I just got a little bit more blue in this bottom corner, that's okay. But the other thing you could do is if you wanted to, no, let's not do it. Never mind. I teased you, built you up, let you crash.
So tonight is the first night we're not sharing a palette.
No, she doesn't like the way she doesn't like the way I do it.
What?
You don't like the way I mix the paint on the palette for us to be able to share.
No, I don't like that you only mix enough for yourself.
That's what I'm saying.
I figured we're a lot of times like fighting with our brushes, trying to sword fighting on the palette, trying to mix color at the same time.
Yeah.
So this works actually.
Well,
I kind of like this.
Yeah, most other people aren't sharing palettes, so.
We
this
just don't
works.
have a huge table space, this works out fine where I have it located.
We need to address the table space in here.
Yeah,
honestly.
we do, and the table itself. It's a
Yeah.
little wobbly.
Oh, that cider is so good. It actually tastes like a creamsicle
Yeah.
with apple juice.
Yeah.
All right. So the next step we're going to work on is we're going to start off by putting.
That's a weird creamsicle with apple juice. Just
Well, that's kind of what it tastes
took me a
like.
minute to process that.
Well, that's technically what it is. All right, I'm going to bring this back in here.
Okay. Wow, it looks completely different.
Look it, I'm done already, everybody. I'm done already. All right, you can end the video. It's time to go home. No, I'm just kidding.
It's crazy to think that it becomes that because of what we're doing right now.
So something I've done a little bit different with these background trees is I've done a little bit more of a dry brush technique to put them in. And if you really look at them, there's not a lot of detail. And I know for people who are beginning painting, I would say the style is bordering on impressionism, but not quite. You know, it's got some elements that are impressionistic. And one of the things that we need to try to avoid when we're working on backgrounds in a painting like this is throwing too much detail into the background. Because the more we detail the background...
I feel like you said that pointedly at me.
I wasn't talking to you specifically.
You looked at me, so that's why.
I was just looking to see what you're doing.
Okay.
God, now you interrupted me. What were we
you're talking about the trees being impressionist.
Yeah, the more we detail the background, the more we then need to detail the foreground, and we don't want to get into all that. So, what we're going to start off doing is we're going to start using, it's kind of like our technique that we've used in a lot of other paintings where we do kind of like the heart rate monitor, but we're going to be a little bit more scratchy. So I'm going to get my brush. Let me show you guys how we're going to do this.
And yes, Paul's painting canvas does have a little hole in the canvas. Both of ours do.
Yeah. We're not wasteful people, so if we get a canvas that's got a hole in it, it's like, okay, let's go ahead and use it.
That's going to be our next video canvas.
Yeah. So I'm using this big brush still, and I don't want a lot of paint on my brush, so I might wipe off extra and just kind of drag the tip of the brush through.
And we're using the same color?
Yeah, I want to kind of keep that nice chisel edge on a flat brush. If you've got a more of a round brush, you can do it this way too. But basically what I've done is, rather than doing our
sound wave,
is I'm just kind of starting at the top of each tree and just kind of tapping down. So it starts at the top, and I'm just kind of doing little taps, coming down. And it's kind of like our sound wave a bit.
Actually, these remind me of like the Tuscan cypress trees. They grow real tall and shrubby like that. Yeah,
and what I'm trying to do here is create more of a bushiness to these trees without getting really involved. You know, it's really easy to get too involved. And what we'll do, though, is we'll take a couple of these larger ones and give them some, breathe a little life into them, put some branches on them to kind of get our OCD out of the way.
So they're not just tall sticks.
Yeah, as I get closer to the outside edge of the canvas, I'm going to get taller and taller. I like to scoop.
And these don't really show in the final painting. They're there. It's kind of like Paul uses the analogy that I love. It's like they're the extras in the movie.
Yeah.
They are, it's important to have them there, but they're not the star of the show. So they're kind of background.
Oh, they're very background. One of the things I'm going to do real quick too is I'm going to just kind of fluff the bottom surface. One thing you'll notice is as I'm doing this, I'm not ending up with like, here, I'll do it on this other side over here. I'm not ending up where this tree just stops and this tree just stops and these like little gaps. I'm making sure that there's fillers in between. There's little other shrubs and stuff that are popping up so that we don't end up with like,
Oh. Your phone's on camera a little bit.
Sorry. That's how I know if people are asking me a question.
I've got it uploaded too.
All right. So just kind of working my way across.
Okay.
But the key is really making sure that you don't end up with these just like perpendicular lines that come down with nothing in between. We want to break that up. One of the things I'm doing on this one is as I get really close to the canvas, it's almost barely showing at all. So you can kind of work your way maybe from a couple inches outside of the center and just kind of work towards the center and just let your brush start to run out of paint.
This technique works really good for painting like castle ruins and that kind of thing.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of castle ruins.
Totally. I think that your gosh, what is that painting called that you did in the studio for St. Patrick's Day?
Oh, that was
Castle?
Yeah.
Doesn't it have like some castle ruins?
Oh, yeah. I thought you were talking about the one that I painted on St. Patrick's Day live this year.
No.
By myself with nobody else joined in. That was fun. I did a live stream by myself. No followers, no watchers.
Oh, really? You didn't have anyone on screen? Well, it was St. Patty's Day in the beginning of the pandemic. People were either freaking out or they were drinking a lot or both. I've
Well,
got
those
some
two
ghost
things do tend to
trees.
go hand in hand.
They do.
All right, just mixing up a little bit more paint. Get used to this color. We're going to use it some more. All right, so now I'm just going to fix up this little area where I add a little bit more blue in that, and that kind of looks cool. Where I was using my little examples. That's a little too dark, though.
So are we doing the same thing over here where we're going to get taller on the...
Yep.
So it kind of frames the canvas in on the left and right, I guess?
Yeah, what it does is visually, it scoops the eye back towards the middle of the canvas, which keeps the focus on this kind of area through here.
We all need our eyes scooped once in a while.
Yeah. Well, you know, that's something that a lot of people don't think about, though, when they're painting, is they don't think about how the eye traces, tracks elements. Mm-hmm. Where does the eye want to go?
Hey, tell us about... You were telling me something about...
Mantis shrimp?
Yes, so that was kind of cool. I didn't really get much of a chance to think about that because I was right in the middle of something. So tell me now.
So, okay, so we have 3 color receptors in our eyes, right? We have red, green, and blue.
Okay.
Right? Those are the rods we hear about. So when we see like some of the old projection style TVs and they had 3 lamps, they were red, green, and blue. It's because that's the color receptors, and everything that we see is a blend of those 3 lights. Mantis shrimp, which are really cool looking, if you guys should look them up.
I've caught a few of those on Animal Crossing.
Yeah, we do catch quite a few of them on Animal Crossing. They have 16 different color receptors.
That's crazy. Can you imagine how many colors you would see?
Yeah.
It would be like crazy. Just for one day, can I experience that?
Well, and there's been people that have created cameras to kind of suggest to us what they might see, and a lot, some of the color receptors are like infrared.
So why do mantis shrimp get that and not other critters?
Well, they're going to inherit the earth.
That must be it.
I mean, if you've been paying attention to the squid populations lately, the ocean is taking things back. So
That's pretty cool. But I think that I have read before that there are some people, I know I could be totally wrong, but I swear I read one time that there are some very special people that are born with...
a fourth.
Yes.
Yeah, and...
Those lucky bastards.
But it'd be like trying to explain to our dog what it's like to see in full color the way we do. Yeah.
It always makes me sad to think that Hachi only sees in black and white. But I guess if you never knew...
Yeah, I mean,
what you're missing.
You don't know what you're missing.
Like, we don't know what we're missing without having 14 colors.
Exactly. So the next step I'm going to do is I do want to put some little suggestion of some detail on a couple of these bigger trees. Now, I don't want to get too crazy into it. It's like sometimes we really get into a lot of fir tree tutorial stuff. I'm going to switch to my smallest brush.
Wow, unusual for you to switch to a little brush this early.
Yeah, it is.
So you should show how simple they are on that canvas there.
I am going to show as I paint it.
Okay. I trust you.
You don't. All right, so I'm just going to use this same color. And really, it's kind of funny is in the studio one time, I had a person painting, and it was a Japanese lady, I believe. I think she was here from Japan. And all she did was, when she painted her fir trees, is she just took her brush and she just went back and forth using a little brush.
I mean, that's what trees look like.
Yeah, and to me, it's like, it feels a little simplistic, but there's a time and a place where this is just the right amount of detail and effort. You can add a little tiny bit of water to your paint if you want to. Just a little.
That does help a lot.
Yeah, just get a little bit more flow, and it kind of washes it out. Ooh, I got a little crazy.
Honestly, this is how Bob Ross does his trees. He just uses a fan brush, which probably has some magical powers.
It's true. Somebody posted a picture the other day of him chowing down on a piece of pepperoni pizza, and they're like, what makes your life better than Bob Ross eating a pizza?
Right.
Anyway, so I'm not going to do all of these. I'm just going to pick and choose a couple of the bigger ones. Again, I don't want you to get really caught up in
Perfection.
doing detail, because all we're really looking for with this right now is just a little bit of contrast of direction. So we're creating these little horizontal dashes that contrast against the vertical ones, and it gives us just enough information that we know that these are now trees. So a lot of times,
My brain is processing these as trees.
yeah, but a lot of times, like when we're painting, especially if we're new, we feel like we have to detail every tree out so that it looks like a photograph of a tree or something like that. And really, just this quick little suggestion is all you need.
So then you save the detail for the foreground.
Exactly. I kind of like to think, like, personally, because that's all that matters is what I think. I like to think of, like, when we're painting, that I just got a little bit of a glob there. It's all right. We're gonna fix that. 85% or 90% of the painting is just background work, and the last 10%, maybe up to 15, sometimes as little as 5, is detail. And it's just so that we feel some closure and resolution. Sometimes you don't need very much detail. I mean, if you look at Monet's work, Claude Monet did not put a lot of detail into his paintings, but man, you can sure pick up detail in your mind when you look at it.
Yeah, like, oh, that's a bridge. Oh, that's a water lily. When really they are super loose.
Now, I've said this before. I really, maybe I haven't said it in the videos. I really have a lot of respect for people who do like this hyper realism. Takes a lot of
I would just not
talent.
have the patience, but I do appreciate it. I love looking at
But I also,
hyper-realistic paintings.
but I also feel like there's nothing that sets a hyper realistic painting apart from another hyper realistic painting.
That's a good point there.
So,
Good point.
and that's again not a knock.
No, we have a family member who's a hyper-realistic artist.
We do.
Jeremy, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's a cousin by marriage. So
Yep.
his art talent doesn't come from the same pool as mine or Paul's.
Nope. No blood relation there whatsoever.
But his paintings are pretty cool.
All right, so I kind of got this little like, oops, I got too much blue in there. That's okay, because I'm going to fix that now. Because what we're going to start doing is we're going to start building up our shrubs that kind of create our barrier, not our barrier, but our, I guess it is kind of a barrier, our separator between the background and the foreground. So we are going to, again, mix up blue and red. We're not going to use any white this time.
Using your middle brush?
Yeah, I'm going to switch to my middle brush. You can use your biggest brush. And so, like, you and I talked about this the other day when we were at the studio.
Mm-hmm.
We get people that in studio are constantly asking us, what brush should I be using? And of late, well, for the first 8 years in business, we would say we're using the middle brush. The last 6 months or so, both of us, it turns out, on our own, without talking to each other, have taken to the whichever brush feels good in your hand technique answer. And because that's really the right answer.
Do you know you're doing a small tree? Does it feel better to use in your hand to use the medium brush or the small?
Yeah, so I'm using the medium. If the bigger brush feels better to you, that's fine. What I'm going to do is I've kind of got this little, I don't like this little do-up dip here. So I'm just going to, it was an accident. I'm going to paint Mr. Bob Ross.
You're painting a little Bob Ross hairdo. So what? What is happening here?
Kind of started looking like evil Ronald McDonald for a second. Anyway, so I'm just creating, this is our...
Are you creating a shrub?
Yeah, so this is our base tone for these mid-ground shrubs here. And it's just a smidge darker than what we've got going on in the background. And I'm just going to save that unfortunate blue blob I put on there. It happens to all of us, but I also know, hey, we can fix it. So I'm just kind of working in a little bit of kind of like some cotton ball-y kind of shapes, and really it's, I use the brush a lot kind of just to almost like scrub.
That's why they get so broken up.
It's totally my fault.
Hey, this is kind of cool. In mine, this is accidental fog right here.
Oh, there you go. This is actually like if you're going to invest in a paintbrush that, like, I highly recommend getting a good old boar hair brush about this size, number 8 or so. They're pretty inexpensive. Like, you're talking $2-3 at Michael's or something like that. We don't have any of them on our website. But this kind of like just scrubbing the heck out of the canvas, it's perfect. Because they don't hold a ton of paint. They're not soft. You can beat them up. They wash out good. But for just kind of getting this kind of real
and
rough,
they have the extra bonus of losing, shedding hairs on your canvas.
I'm not talking about that cheap a brush. But, you know, $4 or $5.
$2 is pretty cheap.
Yeah, you can get them for that little, but I'm thinking more like probably like $4 or $5.
Okay, let's brush down.
Yeah, just kind of brush this out. Kind of thinking about our shape here. You can kind of start to form this kind of curve. Don't have to worry about it too much because we're going to actually brush it in, but as we brush this out, we can kind of get this going. I love doing paintings this way, where we're really building it up using basically a monochromatic. Like, look at, like, I'm looking in the monitor right now and see how cool that looks just right now as it is. It just really looks like a foggy, misty day.
Just like today.
Yeah.
It was raining so hard earlier.
Somehow I did not get rained upon when I was out working outside today.
Your day job.
My day job. The reason my back is sore job.
Right.
All right. So now I'm going to do this other side, and I kind of want to... I'm going to start away from it a bit, because I want to feel like as I work towards my middle, that this kind of just... I'm going to wipe some brush paint off. This just kind of tucks in behind. So we're not getting quite as big and bold on this first part here. Here, can I borrow your painting real quick?
Okay.
I know I can. I'm just have to grab it. But look, Jenny's really got this really contrasting, like, really like foggy, misty lights kind of starting to
So
cut
this
through.
right here is way like where that was accidental. It looks like there's fog behind here.
Yeah, I mean, that's always a good thing to be able to accidentally do.
Happy little accident.
All right, so again, I'm just gonna. Now, one of the things that I really highly recommend is when you're painting like this, don't think so much about what you've painted already. Think more about just working on what you're working on. That's kind of the way nature happens on its own anyway. Like, the tree doesn't think, oh, there's already a tree over there. I probably should grow 6 feet further to the left so I'm not, you know, blocking his mojo. No, it doesn't work that way. It just, they grow where they grow. And it's more about making each one of these layers as we move our way forward visually appealing on its own. And then, if we've done that, then we end up with a painting that as a whole is visually appealing. So, dropping some knowledge on y'all. deep philosophical art knowledge by the Schulster. All right. All right. And again, I'm just keeping mixing, and my palette's right up above the top, so hopefully you guys don't mind looking at tattoos. But
So colorful. Look at that upside down tiger.
right.
And he got his tattoo before the Tiger King was a thing.
The Tiger King.
You know?
Oh yeah. It really must have been a thing. It was all of a COVID.
It got a lot of people through the very beginning stages of COVID pandemic.
But you know that show was simply, it was absolutely just like when you're driving and you see a ambulance and a bunch of emergency vehicles and you slow down to see what's going on. That's all that show was.
It's like you can't look away.
You can't look away. All right, so that's my hole.
Oh, so you connected these in the middle.
Yeah, kind of.
Well, I'm going to maybe leave a gap there.
I would leave a gap there on yours. That looks really cool. Now, keeping along, we are going to actually paint our foliage for our upper trees. Now, something you could do is, if you really like I'm really digging how this looks right through here and through here, maybe what I'll do is I'll keep my foliage a little higher up on my canvas so I'm not hiding that quite as much. It's kind of up to you. But really all we're going to do is we're going to use our biggest brush. Well, no, let's use our medium brush. Use a medium-sized brush. So I'm using our number 8 round.
Number 4.
Is it a number 4?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Remember
I would normally call this at least number 6 or number 8. But all manufacturers put different numbers on their brushes.
Unfortunately, I wish there was some kind of guideline to go by, but it doesn't seem like there is.
There's rumors.
Mm-hmm.
There's rumors about where the guidelines come from. All right, same color.
Because this is a number 4 round also.
Yeah, so go figure. I am going to go ahead and add... No, I'm going to leave this the way it is. The same color. I was going to say add a little bit of black, but I'm going to leave it. This could go a little bit on the reddish side of violet if you wanted it to.
What are we adding here?
We are doing our foliage for these upper trees.
The big ones in front?
Yep.
Oh, so it starts out purple.
Yep. That's our base tone.
Okay.
And what I don't like to paint the trunk and then paint foliage. I do not like doing that at all.
I noticed.
So I'm really, because it makes me have to paint the tree, the shape of the canopy, the way I want it to be, instead of trying to fix it in around branches and stuff like that. So I'm just kind of creating these little blotches. I'm going to lose a bit of my tops of my trees. That's okay. That's the way the original is.
They're almost like cloudy shapes, if that helps you.
Yeah, they are almost cloudy shapes. And I could show you if we want to use your bigger brush. That works good too. Let me get my big brush cleaned off here. You could literally just blot in colors. Blotches.
It reminds me a little bit of like your manzanita tree painting.
Yeah, I'm not going to bring this down into... I'm going to leave a little bit of room between the top of these shrubs. Leave some air showing through. It's all good. And I like to, put a couple little flyers out here. So that's good for that side. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Now, you might want to not be as aggressive on one side, maybe a little more aggressive. It just gets up to you. So one of the reasons I really enjoy doing paintings where we're using this simple color palette to start is we can come back and make adjustments really easy. Mm-hmm. There's nothing on this canvas. Everything on this canvas is a blend of blue, red, and white. So if we need to make adjustments, it's really easy. We don't have to try really hard to match things. They're already kind of all in the same realm. I'm going to be not as big and bold on this side. Maybe a couple little flyers. When I say a flyer, I just mean like a little piece that's sticking out to the side here. And I'm not going to, we may connect branches to some of these, we may not. It's, sometimes we try too hard. I think that's usually the biggest problem. We try too hard. Let little bits of sky show through if you want. Kind of like, don't like to let sky show on the very corner, that's just me. All right. Let me see if I put trunks on those at this point.
Read your instructions, Paul.
That's what I'm doing. The instructions that I told you 4 times we had, and then you were surprised that I actually had it.
So while he's reading that, I wanted to mention next month, so our December boxes are shipping the first week of December. Mm-hmm. And our video's early that month because, our first video anyway, because it's a Christmas decoration. And so, or it's hung up during that season, very holiday. And so, yeah, we wanted to run it a little earlier so you can have it up. And then also the videos, we're trying something different next month. We're going to run them at 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time rather than 7:30.
Well, we've had a big influx of people from Midwest and East Coast in the last 2 to 3 months. And then
Shout out to you guys.
Yeah. Well, obviously, when we first started off, we had our primary following was from those who knew us from the Van Gogh Art Studio. And so a lot of Oregon, some Washington, a few people had moved to California. And then the Hales from Wyoming, who had lived in Oregon and found us here and then moved. But the last, I don't want to say 4 months, the bulk of our new subscribers have not been from Oregon.
We've gotten a lot from Pennsylvania, I've noticed.
Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
One in Canada.
Yeah, we got one in Canada. And then we may also be shipping something to Ireland.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we just decided we'd bump it up a little earlier. I know for those on the East Coast, it still is not really an early time.
Yeah.
But it is something that, obviously, you can watch at any time.
Yeah. Well, I can see...
After it's done and recorded live.
Like right now, we've got 7 people watching, which is actually quite a few for a live stream for us at one given time.
Hi, 7 people.
Hello, 7 people. Make sure if you're enjoying yourself, click like and subscribe.
That's right.
Yeah. All right. So the other thing, we are going to go ahead and put trunks. Now, I kept the trunks really simple in this painting, and I'm just going to start with that same color and basically...
You really are doing a monochromatic thing here.
Yep. Just basically a nice big... vertical line
all the way to the bottom, huh?
All the way to the bottom. And this is just a suggestion for right now, so.
A placeholder.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and do this other one. We'll paint over it.
So if you've got a tree in the background you don't particularly like,
put a trunk on.
Put a trunk over it. I actually really like the way this painting looks right now.
Yeah, it's really cool, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I've got that one I started like a long time ago.
What you doing over there? Are you doing a second one? Oh, you do have a second one, don't you? Like it splits out of that other tree.
Yep.
Oh, fancy.
But I've got that one I painted that was all Venetian red.
Yeah.
And white. That was the...
That's an oil painting.
Well, that was actually, that part's acrylic. But it's a scene from Maui, when we went to Maui a couple years ago. And it's really kind of cool when you see something painted just monochromatic. And this is a great monochromatic.
It's like you just put an Instagram filter on it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what happened.
All right.
All right, so the next thing we're going to want to do is we're going to start building up some of our color tones. So what we want to do is we want to go ahead and take our brush and give it a quick rinse.
Middle brush?
Yep, middle brush. And I think what we want to do is I want to go ahead and give ourselves a little suggestion of where our path is going to be. So I'm going to just take a little bit of white And basically, so one of the things I've noticed is when we do these little curves, I'm going to do it a little wider for now, but just so that people can see it better. People have a tendency of not doing a big, they try to make the curve kind of come down and still feel like it's coming down. And to me, what happens is the eye has a hard time interpreting what's going on exactly.
If it's a stream or a creek or what the heck.
Yeah, so I like it to kind of start pretty horizontal. And actually, if I look at the original,
Let's have a look.
the top edge of this thing goes right visually to the corner. The other edge is about the middle of the canvas.
Yeah, and then it just sort of arcs back around sharply.
Yep, and we'll build. So I'm gonna go ahead and put a little dot there. We can kind of.
So you said you did yours later. Do you want us to use that?
Yeah, go ahead and use white. Okay. It's fine. Just a little bit, and I'm just gonna go. Here's the middle of my canvas thereabouts. I actually feel like that could go a little. There we go. So it starts pretty horizontal and it ends pretty horizontal. That's kind of what we want it to feel like. This could actually go a little further out. And I'm just going to kind of smudge this into the middle here. Don't worry about, I kind of got a little carried away up here. That's okay. Don't need a lot of paint. I don't want you filling this in with white, basically. We just kind of want to...
Place mark it?
Just place mark it.
You could turn this into a little stream if you wanted to.
So there's a formula in this, it's like... This is the beginning part. Let me grab this real quick. Give you guys my secrets. This beginning part to here can go to anything. Right? This could become an ocean. This could become a lake. It could become a mountain. This is the most important step in developing a landscape painting. Then this next step is separator that brings creates a buffer between the background and the foreground. And then we decide, okay, are we going to put a stream? Are we going to put a path? Are we going to put a river? And it's all the same basic formula. So a path and a stream are going to be the same basic structure, typically. I mean, really, if you think about it, this is similar to our Harvest Moon pathway.
Yeah.
A little bit different. So I kind of got I got a little bit too much, of the white there. That's okay. When we start filling it in, we're basically made this a little wider than it needs to be so that the leaves can kind of strew in from the sides. So,
okay.
There you go. Word for the day. Strew in. All right. So using our medium brush. How are we looking? How long have we been going live here?
8:19.
8:19. So we're doing pretty good. I mean, we've only been painting for
less than an hour.
Little more than a half an hour, actually. All right. So I'm just going to use a little bit of straight red. And we're going to start working on these background trees, shrubs here. And what I'd like to do is I will put a little bit of the red on the cap. Oops, didn't like that. Okay, I'll live with that. We'll fix it.
What have you done?
Yeah. Well, that red does not go on very well on top of white. And then I'll wipe my brush off. And while that paint's still red, I just kind of blot.
Well, it's still wet.
Yeah. What did I say?
Well, it's still red.
Well, it's still red. Well, it's still wet.
It is still red and wet.
I just kind of start to blot away from that edge. Sometimes you end up...
Pulling down a bit.
A little bit of a pull down, but not a lot. More really just kind of blotting.
Okay.
When you pull down, then what happens is you get brush strokes.
Oh.
And I think brush strokes are overrated.
What you doing there?
Now the other thing you can do is you just kind of like, I'm thinking of there being kind of like a horizontal base to these trees. So I'm just going to kind of start to scrub in.
So kind of going at an angle.
It doesn't have to. Just kind of blotty. Blotty, blotty, like to potty. I said potty, I meant party. Alright. This bottom area that we're working on right now, we're going to kind of do this kind of thing a lot. Different stages. Sometimes we'll be...
Looks like you're doing graffiti.
Yeah, kind of. So I'm going to show you a quick trick here too. Let me go a little higher with this. Looks like there was a battle here.
Sunday, bloody Sunday.
All right. So one of the things you can do that's really cool is you can put a little bit of this fresh red along this top edge here. And you can take a little bit of your blue, your sapphire blue here, and kind of mix it in here. And pull that red and blue together, working your way up, and that just kind of starts to, this is where we start layering. We're building up some more depth of tone. Just getting a little darker. Get a little darker.
You sound like Dana Carvey when he,
Not
when he,
gonna do it.
when he would do Ross Perot.
No, that was George Sr.
Oh.
I'm a uniter, not a divider. Gonna unite this red and this blue. Oh, this is so symbolic right now. This is
Unite the red and blue. It is super symbolic.
We'll see. We need a little bit of unity going on right now.
We're uniting red and blue on our canvas.
That's right.
Absolutely.
We're paving the way for America.
Mm-hmm.
All right. That's as political as we're going to get. Because we love all of you.
So I'm curious about this.
Yeah.
This technique you're doing.
Yeah.
Interesting. I never would have thought. Is it because of the sunlight is hitting the tops of the shrubs and then
Yep.
hitting the sunlight is hitting down in here too? But
Just a little
this
bit.
is away from the light source. Is
Yep.
that what you're going for? Okay.
Exactly, exactly. All right, so we're going to do the same thing on this other side. Same exact technique. Wow, that's a little... That is
Intense.
totally Ronald McDonald right there.
That's his head.
So you can see real quick, I mean, like, I've done nothing but red, and you can see this area where I've left it fairly thick. It already looks like a highlight,
It does. Happy
But
little highlight.
so I'm going to leave that a bit. And that's why we kind of, this is where layering is fun. Layering is fun, you guys! What happens is we can keep layering red on top of red, and it keeps bringing that out as long as we don't get too heavy with it initially. So if you kind of got this like subdued red where we've got sorry.
Kermit the Frog is making an appearance. Actually, no, that was Yoda. They're both voiced by Jim Henson, weren't they?
Painted here we will. All right, so where we've got this more subdued red, we can kind of come back later and you just can add some little dots of red and it just really makes it pop. I've got a little bit of glare going on mine, so
Yeah, I do
it's,
too.
it's showing up a
That
little bit
big
more.
old LED lights
Yeah.
up there.
So again, we can do the same thing. We can bring this in. And again, I'm not trying to fill it in. I'm letting it be blotchy because this dark tone becomes our little shadows and stuff like that. Don't worry about painting over your trees. You can repaint them anytime. So So this messiness, it's all part of the master plan and how this painting comes together. So for in terms of our sky and our background trees, they're done. So we're not going to work on those anymore. So if you're feeling like, is that it? Yes.
Oh no.
Oh no, sky's done. If you don't love your sky, add more foliage.
Yeah, well-placed tree, shrub, bird, airplane. Are we gonna put some dark blue in here too?
No,
Okay.
not yet. Because actually that area is where there's more sunlight coming through. So this is actually, if you look at the original, bring it back.
Bring it on back. Oh yeah.
You know,
Nice.
this is the sunlight's kind of
This is
coming
the area
through
that's
here.
gonna be really cold as you're walking in.
Yep. And this is the kind of thing that you can totally. I don't like this right here, so I'm gonna fix that. This area through here, if you wanted to put some really bright yellow mixed with white highlights in there, I'll show you guys how to do it since I suggested it.
Now you're locked in.
Yeah, it's just kind of like we'll get to the end and I'll be like, okay, if you want to take this up another level, kick it up a notch, if you will, then I'll show you how we're going to do that. All right, so next thing we're going to do, we're going to we're going to take a little bit of this red now, and we're going to put some of this up in our upper trees as well. Again, we're not painting to cover these. So don't put a lot of effort into perfecting. Got blue. But this is where we start to create our separation between the background and the foreground. And don't be afraid. Like, you gotta go over the trunk here. Trunk. Gotta go over it. Don't leave it sitting there without any foliage going across, because there's branches coming towards us too.
Yep, it's not parting its way for us to see its trunk like a person wearing a trench coat.
Expose yourself to art.
Oh yeah.
Mayor Bud Clark. Old Portland mayor. If you guys don't know what it was, Bud Clark was the mayor of Portland back in the 80s, and he had they did a poster of him, or it looked like he was flashing a statue out on the street.
Yeah, you just see him from behind,
you see
got
him
a
from
trench coat
behind.
on.
And it says expose yourself to art, and he was really a fun mayor. I mean, I was a kid, but he was fun. What was his whoop whoop? Isn't that what he used to say?
I can't even remember at all.
Yeah, I don't know. Portland has earned its reputation of being weird. I'll just put it that way. All right, cool.
Definitely.
So I've kind of got this little spot right there I don't love. That's okay. I'll fix it later. And that's always kind of something that a lot of times, and we see this in the studio. I'm going to tilt this so you guys can see it a little better, because I got that little bit of glare. Might have to figure out some way to...
You want me to adjust the light?
No.
Okay.
I'll just tilt it once in a while. It's not bad. But a lot of times when people make mistakes, their immediate instinct is, I got to fix it now.
Mm-hmm.
And the best thing to do is actually just kind of let it sit, because if you fix it now, it usually just makes it worse. So the next thing we're going to do, though, is I'm going to go ahead and put in our base tone for our pathway. And I'm going to keep using my mid-sized brush. I like, whenever we're doing something that's like a path and foliage and stuff like that, I really prefer using the middle-sized brush. It gives more texture. So color we're going to use for this is what I like to call everybody in the pool. So I'm going to start with a little bit of red. Oh yeah, I forget, you guys can't see that up there. All right, a little bit of red, a little bit of blue. Then bring some white in. Add a little bit of yellow.
Oh, that's a pretty color.
It's a gorgeous color. A little bit more red. What I'm kind of going there, that's the color I'm going for. Kind of a little bit of a muddy.
Like a grayish lavender almost.
Yeah, you can add a little tiny bit of black.
Muddy lavender.
You know what it reminds me of? You remember Silly Putty when we were kids? Mm-hmm. And you get Silly Putty and you could like do the transfer of
The newsprint.
Yeah. And then you did it so many times that the newsprint was just part of the color.
And you mix it in, it's like, oh, my putty.
That's the color we're going for.
My putty no pretty no more. Did you add black to that too?
Just a tiny little bit. Just kind of going for this Silly Putty color. Could actually go a little bit more yellow.
I don't ever remember my silly putty looking like that.
You didn't use it enough then.
Apparently not. So
And
this is kind of brownish.
Yeah. And I'm just kind of going, starting on the left of my path. It literally has everybody in the pool because it's got black, it's got white, it's got red, blue, yellow. There, everybody's there. Nobody was left out.
Do we want a pretty solid fill in, or can we leave some of the dark showing?
You know, yeah, you probably want a pretty solid fill in.
Okay.
If you've got a lot of the white on there, you definitely want to cover that up. The reason I'm leaving, kind of starting on this edge, is I'm going to now
Overlap.
mix up a little bit of that darker purple that we used before, and just kind of start right along the edge here. And I'll let those two colors get together, have a little party.
So I assume this path just starts out wide, and then we narrow it down with
Yep.
overlapping foliage.
That's exactly it. I think that's one thing that I see that instinctively beginning painters want to paint. I don't want to be mean, but like a coloring book.
Hey, you were a beginning painter.
I know, and I did the same things. But they want to treat it more like a coloring book where they create shapes and then fill them in, and rather than.
Why is mine turning that color?
Because you need to add red to the blue.
Oh,
Mixing the purple.
okay.
So this is our basic, and I'm letting this be nice and choppy and uneven. So if you didn't, that's okay. We can add choppiness and unevenness. Ain't nothing to it. This is actually, like, to me, a really, this is the kind of painting that you could, if you're really having a stressful day, you could sit down and work on getting all these little textured colors and elements. I'm creating a little bit of a dark edge along here. You could work on this for hours if you wanted to. Just keep building the layers, maybe taking some colors back, bringing some more colors back forward. All these different things. You can keep, chipping away for a long, long time without ever, you could go forever. You don't have to ever get done with it. So it's a great, peaceful, stress-reducing type of activity. If you got just the right music on in the background and just the right beverage in your hand.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Just the right beach right in front of you.
I could, well, if it was like, we talked about Maui. Mm-hmm. If it was Maui, I would be in the water. Like, I have a hard time staying out of the ocean when it's warm. Mm-hmm. All right, so our next step is we're going to start building up some more of these layers. And again, I've got this little funky spot right here, and I think you can see it on the canvas or on the camera, where it just, I got outside the lines a little bit, and the red just didn't do its thing. It just kind of created a little like stain.
It could be the roof of a cabin back there.
Yeah. So what I'm going to do and bring this back into play, is I'm going to take a little bit of yellow. Now, this red goes a long ways. So, just be aware of that. Mostly yellow, a little tiny bit of red. Just kind of create a little peachy orange. Orange is one of those weird colors. It's really hard to mix a good orange.
Mm-hmm. You can end up with coral.
Yeah. So I'm just going to kind of do a smaller scale version of what we did before. Start with a little bit right along the edge. And just kind of blot it out here. Now, and that's something to keep, consider too. If you guys are starting to get into really enjoying painting with us, don't be shy about, picking up other colors. Getting some of your own colors that you want to add.
Oh yeah, we've got some recommendations for that.
Yeah, if you want to hit us up, on the website, via the chat feature on our website or something like that. If you ever wonder, it's just Jenny, me, and Eric, and Annalise.
Yeah, we lost a lot of our staff with COVID. Those are the artists.
Yeah, when I say Annalise and Eric, they help us maybe one day a month right now. Mm-hmm. But as far as if you call and we answer, a lot of times I'm on the road, so I can't answer all the time, but I'm on the road for my other job.
The chat bubble.
Use the chat bubble.
The chat thing on our website works perfect because it goes right to our phones.
Yep.
So we can, if we're available, answer.
If you ever wonder, it's Jenny and me. There's nobody else
answering
those questions. We do have an automated little thing that says welcome to the website, but that's just so that chat feature's there. If you have any questions, we try to answer as quick as we can, but we're only 2 people. So again, doing the same thing. It's okay if this is a little bit on the coralish side for right now. When we bring the yellow into play, the yellow is really going to be what makes all this pop. Pop, pop, pop. Oh, wow.
Pop, pop, pop.
I was thinking of Pennywise. Pop, pop, pop.
I was thinking the Christmas song.
Oh, okay. You are having better thoughts than I am. We still haven't watched the season, chapter 2.
Nope. Need to do that. Yeah, I'm always reluctant because sequels can just sometimes really...
But it's not really a sequel.
Yeah, you're right, because the original movie they're older in it, too.
Yeah, it's... Well, not the movie, but the book. It's a continuation of the book. Now, I kind of got a little too much highlight right in here. That's okay. I can bring shadow back in. But if you want to start blotting in some of this color on this left-hand side in particular, not so much the right. So one of the things that I think is really, oh gosh, you know what? That is my word. One of the things. Something that I think is really cool and is we don't talk about enough is sometimes it's better to not really mix your paint very much. So I just did a little bit of yellow and red, and when I start painting that on, I get a lot of little natural variation in there. Now, as we start working this on this side, we can start pulling this out over our path. And when I'm doing this, I'm really blotching it. See, I just got a little bit more yellow out of that little brush stroke, and I didn't pick up more paint. I just turned the brush a little bit. So this is what I've done is I just didn't mix I didn't do a lot of mixing. I put red and yellow on the brush from the palette, but I didn't mix up a lot. These little spots where the leaves are blowing in. Got a little bit more yellow on there that time. And do a little bit on this side too. Not very much. Not very much.
And you're leaving some of the dark purple background showing through too.
Yep. Real blotchy. We'll come back with some yellow later and just really bring this to life and get a little bit of this going. Maybe a little bit more red right in here. For all intents and purposes, there's nothing been really technical about this painting.
No, not too bad.
Not too bad. I think the most technical aspect of this is that you want to be as non-technical as possible. So you can see I'm just kind of breaking up this edge. Leaves are blowing in. There's not as many hikers on the path this time of year, so we're not quite as clear.
What is wrong with them? This is a beautiful time to hike.
Right? Do a little bit more red up in here if you want to.
So did you have a certain spot, like, did you just come up with this out of your head, or did you look at a reference photo that you kind of were inspired by? Or?
No, this one was straight up out of my head. I mean, I can't think of anyone in particular spot. Just
And did you design this while bartending?
I did. One of my Sunday mornings.
Yeah, so when we are serving drinks in the studio and the teacher is teaching, the person pouring drinks, it's not a regular, like, people always coming up to the bar, like a normal bar, so it gives us a lot of time to actually paint, and we have the music on, so it is very nice.
Yeah, I think I did 3 weeks in a row where I think I did Old Birch Road, this one, and then the one we've got coming up in December. Frozen Twilight, so I just totally, like, our keywords are going to go awesome for Frozen Twilight. Because there's going to, like, when people, like,
Can we put 50 Shades of Garlic in there?
No, 50 Shades of Garlic wouldn't necessarily work because of the... Well, maybe the 50 Shades would. But just having Frozen and Twilight alone in the title is going to be like...
What? Twilight?
Twilight? Frozen? Do you want to build a snowman? Hey, you know what's good? You know what Frozen and Twilight have in common? They both have key characters that shimmer in the sunlight.
My December painting has a snowman in it, so there we go. Frozen, Twilight, snowman.
Yeah, Olaf and Edward, they both shimmer.
And they both like warm hugs.
You know, I've never made it through Frozen.
Really? The whole thing?
No. Do we have it?
Yeah.
Well, I know it's on
I think
Disney
we even
Plus.
have the soundtrack, because Greta was like 8.
Yeah, so Greta was like the right age, but every time it's come on, I've fallen asleep. Not because it's not entertaining, but I think it's just because it's so calming. No.
Right.
All right, so I'm going to just bring a little bit more red. And you can see what I'm doing is I've just got a little tiny bit of red on my brush. And just kind of building up a little bit more of this red in here. We're going to really kind of, excuse me, clear my throat. We're going to really rely on really a Monet technique in our kind of our final look with this, where Monet would get his orange by having red and yellow close together, you know, visually. So from a distance, you get more of the orange feel, whereas up close, you don't have it quite as much. And if you guys have any orange left over from last month's kit, don't be afraid to bust that out right now.
Oh, yeah. That'd be good.
So I'm going to do some more red down in this area over here. This red really is our highlight in the shadowed areas. So, same thing. Gonna let the leaves kind of bop out in here. You guys are doing great. Nobody's complaining. So I know everybody's doing good.
At least not on our chat.
No, they already threw the remote through the TV. So again, just really uneven, blotchy choppiness. We might put a little bit of orange in here, but we'll see.
Wait, you're doing all the voices tonight. Lots of Yoda. A little George W. Or no, original.
George H.W.
George H.W.
Oh, I can't. I gotta work on my George W. I started to, but I was like, no, I'm not gonna do it. Not gonna do it.
No, do you remember though when Dana Carvey would play Ross Perot and he kind of would talk really?
He'd be like, you got the potato chip man, you got the chicken man, and they can't come together and make a full meal together. He'd be like, can't even make a picnic. Boy, this is what happens when I don't get very much sleep. Oh, we just lost 2 viewers. They're like, we're out of here.
I can't handle this guy anymore.
Okay. So the next thing we're going to do is we're really getting really kind of close to being done with this painting. I'm just going to bring a little bit more of this red in here. Of course, what time is it? It is...
We're not really close to well...
No, we are.
We're closer
We're not that
I'm
far
just looking
away.
at the original right there.
Yeah, but you don't know.
It's true, I don't know.
But I mean, it's getting close to midnight on the East Coast, so...
Ooh, dude.
Yeah. Alright, so I mean, just gonna... Let's bring a little bit of that kind of coral color that we used with the red and the yellow. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, let's add Clint Eastwood to the mix tonight.
Oh, I didn't do that with me. You feel lucky, punk. Actually, I guess that's not the right line.
Isn't that what he said?
I don't know. Alright, so just a little bit of this kind of coral color up in here. Just bits. We don't want to get too much. It's more out on these areas that are a little bit more exposed. Out on these tips here.
And you could use your smaller brush if you need.
Yeah, you can use a smaller brush for sure. At any time, use the brush that feels best in your hand. Maybe even challenge yourself a bit. See what you can do with a bigger brush. One of my favorite techniques is to use a small brush. It's not going to work on what we're working on right now. But rather than just using the tip, is to actually drag it to the side, like so. Well, actually, I'll show you when we do the highlights on the trees. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. It's just using the right brush for, just feeling the essence of the painting and rolling with it. Boy, I am
special.
I need a nap. All right, let's go ahead and since we've got everything really pretty well roughed in the way we need it to be. Let's go ahead and darken up our tree trunks, because then from here it's all just going to be little bits of highlight, little bits of things like that. But let's go ahead and get our tree trunks darkened in. I'm going to use my biggest brush for this. We're back up to 4. Somebody just went and got a drink out of the refrigerator and came back. All right. So I'm not going to go up into my foliage very much. I've got a little drip of water. But I'm going to go at pure black.
Whoa.
Yeah. I'm just going to bring this up like so. Maybe a little bit thicker. Oops, I accidentally made a branch. Okay, I'll roll with that. Now, I'm just going to, with this big brush, I'm just going to do the below the foliage area. We'll use a smaller brush to go up from there.
Is that the monitor making that little
No, it's the receiver thing.
mixer?
Yeah. I actually think we need to get another table for it.
Oh, does it get too hot there?
No, it's not that it gets too hot, but I think the mic picks it up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed that when I was editing your video yesterday. It's doing a lot of work.
It's white noise.
It is doing a lot of work. So I just used a bigger brush to get the bottom parts. Now I'm going to switch to my medium-sized brush, and I'm just going to kind of throw a couple little dabs in up in here. Now I accidentally got a little carried away. I've got this little bump that's coming out here, so I'm just going to turn that into a branch that goes out and off. So let's talk about branches real quick. Branches are something that you can do, and I think you do need to do a couple, but they're not something that I want anybody to get too carried away with. We are going to use our smallest brush, and basically the main thing you want to think about is, I've got my trunk, I want to go away from the trunk and up. I don't want to come down and back. So I'm going to look at, let's go like so, that's away.
I really like these new stiffer little brushes.
Is that the...
That's what I'm using, yeah.
Oh, great.
Those will be coming in.
I don't have that one. We don't need a lot of tree branches in here, though. Kind of like less is more.
Some suggestions.
Just some little hints. Just some little some suggestion that there's something holding these branches. I kind of like doing like maybe a little bare one like so.
Okay, I just did a bare one.
We're bare together.
Barely. So what kind of trees are these?
Yes.
That kind.
Yes, absolutely. Totally made up. I kind of think of like they're like some kind of a maple of some sort or something.
Is this East Coast?
Oh
or
wait,
West
no,
Coast?
this has got to be a birch or yeah, probably a birch.
It's got the white bark.
Ash.
So is this the East Coast or West Coast scene?
Depends on where you live. I think that's kind of fun about this particular painting is there's no real specific geography to it.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that we've kind of talked about, but both Jenny and I have only lived in Oregon. So, and then with our art studios being in Oregon, there's not been a lot of desire for, people, it hasn't been a lot of demand, I should say, for Midwest or East Coast painting subjects. So we can, but now with this Go Box thing.
Now that we're all over the nation, send us your requests.
Yeah.
You want the...
Like if you want to see, like, I don't know, I can do some
St. Louis Arch.
I don't know about buildings, but but like if you're from the Smoky Mountains or something, and you want to do a Smoky
the
Mountain
Adirondacks,
painting,
that'd be cool.
Yeah, or Maine or Wisconsin or whatever. I mean, I'm getting really good at painting. Well, I shouldn't say really good, but I'm getting pretty darn good, I feel like, at painting most of the landmarks in Oregon. I mean, I've painted Multnomah Falls only like 80 times probably.
Exactly.
So it's kind of be fun to try some new areas. Maybe we should look and see.
Send us your photos.
Yeah.
We'll paint them.
Yeah. Well, we'll consider them. So, all right. So we kind of got some branches there. Nothing real fancy. Really, all we have left to do now is we're going to add some brighter highlights in this area. We're going to add some little puddles of rain, which is one of my favorite techniques of making this path feel a little bit more well-traveled. And then we'll do some highlights on our trees once they dry. I've got some halos around my tree. So I'm going to fix that up real quick. I'm just going to take a little bit of red. If you guys have some halos around your trees.
Actually, when I tilted my canvas, I can see I've got speckles of white canvas showing through there. I just didn't get a thick enough coat because of the glare.
And if you paint over your trunk a little bit, hey, you know what? No big deal.
It's going to be highlighted. It'll come back.
Yeah, or you can touch it back up with black or whatever. This side's okay. Okay. So what I'm going to do next is we're going to work on our brighter highlights. And I don't want to do a lot of these. So I'm going to go ahead and switch to my smallest brush. You can do it with, let's do our medium-sized brush. I'll show you that. And if the medium brush just is too much for you, go with the smaller one. But what I like about this medium round in particular, if you've got a medium flat, you can use just the corner of the brush. Do we have any medium flats here?
I can find one if you need to show.
Yeah, why don't you grab one if you...
Okay. There might be some in the drawer behind me.
So I'm just going to start touching in a little bit of this yellow, and that's feeling too intensely yellow. So I'm going to add a little tiny bit of red.
Flat shader work?
Yeah, this will work fine. So I got a little bit too bright a yellow, so I'm just going to add in a little bit of red to tone it back. There we go.
Wink. Where's our new chairs?
I don't know, lady with the credit card. Let's get a couple of those.
Gamer chairs.
No, I don't know if we need gamer chairs, but something. We're literally just sitting on metal folding chairs.
They're not super comfortable.
No. Actually, I've got one leg going to sleep right now. So if anybody works for a chair company,
shout out,
and they want to feel like sponsoring a video and sending us a couple of chairs, because we would be really good for that, because most of the YouTubers out there, they're doing a 20-minute show. We're doing like a 2.5 hour chair show.
We can prove that your chair is the best.
The ergonomics of a good chair would really be put on display for everybody.
So you're adding some yellow back there, but just a little.
Yeah, well, I added a little bit of red to it too because it was feeling just a little too.
Yellow?
Yeah, I mean, we can do a little bit of that, but I didn't want to get too strayed from the original. But man, I'm loving how this color is coming together with this just little hint of coral. I like this better.
I was like, why won't this spot cover? And then I remembered it's the cut in my canvas. Which you can fix. There's like some videos about how to fix cuts and tears in the canvas.
So yeah, I'm just kind of adding some of this brightness in through here. You can add a little bit of just pure yellow if you want to in some spots. Actually, that'll be really good for when remember earlier I was talking about doing that extra little bit of detail. I'll save that. That's where our bright yellow comes in. You can put a little tiny bit out on this point here. I think that looks good. There's just a little bit of color. Now I've got a flat shader brush. I'm going to show you how you can kind of do the same thing
If you're working with a flat brush.
if you're working with a flat brush. If I had a regular flat brush, it would be even better. But
I could find one.
no, it's all right. That's good enough. You can just use the corner of the brush. Maybe I can show it just. Yeah, just a little bit of the corner works. So I'm a big advocate of having a large variety of brushes, by the way, for your home painting.
And you don't have to spend a ton of money either.
No. In fact, even just to get started, that new 6-piece kit
Yeah, that's a
that
good
we've
one.
got for $12 on GoBox.com.
Those are pretty good quality.
I mean, believe it or not, some of the commission pieces I've done, I've used 99-cent brushes for parts. So it really has. It's not. There's something they say about guitarists a lot. It's not the guitar; it's the hands of the guitarist that make it sound. So it's the same thing. It takes practice. You'll get there. I think there's the old guitarist. His name's Zakk Wylde, and he played for the Ozzy's band. And there's a video clip of him online playing this real cool bluesy kind of song on a Hello Kitty guitar from Target.
Gosh.
And
That's funny.
you really realize it's the
I think you showed me that.
yeah, it's the talent is more important, or the skill that's been acquired is more important than the instrument. Speaking of which, I want a new guitar, but no. So if there's anybody out there, I'm just kidding.
If you want to sponsor us and you're a guitar company, Paul will play you some songs.
Now I'm just pandering. If you happen to work for Breedlove Guitar Company in Bend, Oregon, all right. So I'm going to put a little bit of this coral, but a little bit more towards the red side, in through here a bit. I want it to be a little darker than what we've been doing, so just more red. If you get carried away, it's okay. You can always just paint back over it. There we go. All right, we're back up to 5. All right. Maybe somebody had to go put the kids to bed. Who knows? Honestly, that's pretty good. Pretty good number. Do a little bit more of this kind of coral up here on this. Nope, that's not coral at all. That's just red. I really like to think about how the light's coming through and what it's going to hit and what it's not going to hit. So it's going to hit the top edges of these ones through here. It's going to really hit in through here. So we're going to, just a second here, I'm going to show you. How we're going to do that little bonus. It's Highlighting Tip Tuesday! There's the top of my head. Alright. Now, I also feel like maybe this area through here, I feel like these trees maybe could use a little bit more definition. So in the shadows, so I'm just going to mix up that dark violet that we did before. That was a little bit of red and a little bit of blue, and just kind of recreate some of this shadows. Like maybe this guy right here is getting a little bit more light from the left and from the right, and maybe kind of casting a shadow in underneath here. Same thing with this one. There we go. I like that. Well, we're not going to do the highlight tips. How do we make an elk or deer or something with horns? Jenny, you got any ideas on that?
I was thinking about that earlier. I'm trying to think where it would go. I actually have a good idea for where it could go, like right somewhere back in here.
Yeah, it kind of depends on how big you want it. So if you were like, if you're thinking about like how to paint one, if that's what you're asking.
Oh, are you going to show us?
Yeah, we'll try. Let's give it a shot.
Just remember, really thick neck.
Yeah. So what I would like to do, what I would do if I were doing it is, one of the things that people have that makes something like an animal in the forest look kind of glued on is the feet. You know, so we kind of want to make it, I would like maybe probably tuck it in around over here or someplace like that and make it.
I was thinking like a small silhouette back here, and like he's like doing that little thing where.
Well, the problem with that is I think then it makes.
Right in the center.
Well, and it makes the foreground look too small. Like we want to be like, yeah, so roll with me here.
Okay, I'm rolling.
But what we want is we want the feet to feel like they're disappeared down into the leaves so that we're not having to deal with feet. But if I were doing it, let me see here. First of all, Google is your friend.
Wait, you're not on the screen.
I know.
Oh, okay. I thought you were painting up there. Oh, you're reaching for your palette. Never mind.
Yeah.
I'll just be quiet.
Yeah, please. So I'm gonna Google is your friend. So I'm gonna
Google elk silhouette.
Yes, exactly. So I'm looking at this one. It's more of a, this might be a good, it's more head on, but you're probably going to want to do it pretty small. But elk really have kind of a round rack. So that's obviously bigger. And maybe I should do it the right size. Let's do it the right size. So I would start no bigger than about like so. Remember, symmetry is important when you're painting their rack here. I think a kind of a thick neck. There's an ear, an ear. Your ears are a little bit bigger. But we're going to be painting this small, so it's not a big deal. That's really small on the camera, isn't it? It looks like a spider right now.
Draw a spider first. Then you'll be well on your way.
I'm cheating and looking at a picture, so.
That's not cheating. That's how you learn.
Like, I think of elk as being just this big, massive rib cage. There's going to be a leg that comes down here. There's going to be a leg that comes down here.
You sure that's not a moose?
No. That's a pretty small rack for the size of the body, but that's an easy thing to fix. I mean, that's...
Give it like make it longer. There you go.
There we go.
That's not bad. They have like shaggy under hair on their throat.
Yeah.
What do they do? Is it called bugling?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I always imagine like the silhouette where they've got their head raised up in the air, bugling, with some steam coming out. There you go. There's your extra credit.
Got to use steam too. But yeah, I just think something really try to keep it as simple as possible. So I kind of like this kind of like mostly head-on view is probably good. And if you go in comparison to the size of the canvas, yeah, you can see it's probably only maybe 2 inches tall or so. And you can kind of like you could totally put it like right about like here where he's kind of walking down the game trail.
Then you don't have to worry about painting feet because it can go behind that hill.
Yeah, exactly. And then if you wanted to get really crazy, you could take some purple and create a little shadow under him. Something like that.
Oh yeah, because the sun would be behind him.
Yeah.
So you would actually have a shadow cast.
But I would just keep it simple with a silhouette, though. You could get really get really tricky and try to do highlights and stuff like that. One of my favorite paintings is Among the Sierras by Albert Bierstadt, and one of the things he's got this huge canvas and it's got a waterfall.
That's huge.
It's huge. And if I were to sketch it out, he's got this waterfall coming down, and there's this big cliff that's like this, and a lake and stuff like that. And he's got these deer, and they're literally like that big. And what it does is you know how big a deer is. And so when you see it that tiny, it makes everything else seem so much bigger. So you have to be careful on your scale. Like if you're trying to paint, an elk or a deer in here, if you do it too big, obviously all of a sudden all of this becomes very tiny.
There's Among the Sierras.
Yeah. So here's all our cliffs and stuff, and if we zoom in,
there they are.
There's our. I guess those look like
deer. Oh, there's an elk there.
It looks like an elk.
Yeah, but look at like zoom out.
Yeah, it's definitely. Well, it looks like elk, yeah. But then you look at when you zoom out to the whole painting,
It's got
you
like
see
that, like amazing sky.
Yeah, but
and you can't see it there. There's sun rays painted on there.
Yeah, but if you see how small those, I think they look like elk, but it's hard to tell. Yeah, they're elk. They've got the white butt. Anyway, but keeping that scale the right size is what is really important. Okay, gotta get back. Okay, so the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna work on our little bits of water. And to start with, we're just gonna do, I'm gonna mix up a little bit of a real pale lavender. So a little bit of red. It can be a little bit on the red side. It just needs to be lighter than our path. Now I'm just using my smallest brush. All right, just want to make sure I wasn't missing any questions. So I'm just going to use my smallest brush, and I'm just going to start without a lot of paint. I had a lot of paint on my brush. Just out here. And I'm going to kind of keep these where my brush is moving horizontal. So the reason I'm kind of keeping it in this lavender tone is it's kind of the colors that's in the sky, and it's going to be picking up some of these ambient colors of the trees as well. I'm just getting a little bit bigger as we go down further, and I've got kind of like one bigger one right here. Gentlemen, this is where you lay your coat down so the ladies don't have to walk through the puddles. Jenny's like, what?
Is that really?
But it's North Face. It's a Patagonia. All right. So just some little puddles, and maybe if you feel like, oh wow, I got too, predictable with it, maybe break one up a little bit, make it a little bit bigger. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take some pure white. And just kind of along the top edge or bottom edge, just a little bit of some dabbling on here. Mine's really bright white, but that's okay. I can always tone it down. That's the nice thing about painting in white or black on the canvas is you can always make adjustments. In fact, I feel like that's a little too stark.
I think like where the sunlight would be, you'd have some brightness, but then the other ones that are back further in the shadows could be the more muted color.
In the shadow, shadow da do. In the shadow da 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 do do. Do do da da do. Alright. I need a little bit more. So this is the kind of like little technique that I think it's important to kind of just like squint at a little bit once in a while you're working on it, because if you look at it up close, if you only look at it with your eyes wide open and up close, you kind of lose the notion of what it's supposed to look like. I think it feels too blobby, but then when you look at it, I kind of got a little too aggressive with those ones. I'm not going to worry about it.
You've got a stream. I'm going
I do.
Get my rubber raft out and go down that.
Well, it was just that we just had a cold November rain. More keywords.
More keywords.
Yeah. All right. So let's take that kind of lavender color that we just mixed up. Let me bring our palette back up here. And little red, little blue. We're just mixing up that pale lavender. This can be a little bit on the blue side this time.
Is this what we're going to highlight our trees with?
Yeah, so I'm not a huge fan of just doing pure white on trees. Just not. So I'm using my smallest brush. I'm going to show you this technique that I like to use. I just kind of like to take my brush and lay it right on the side of the, so that it's like basically
Scraping it over.
Yep, it's almost like using it like a palette knife.
I've seen people do this with on bigger paintings with that old credit card.
Oh yeah, that would work fantastic.
I've got one.
You do, don't you?
Yeah, I just got the renewal one after waiting for 2 months. My bank was sending my credit card to an business address we have not been at for 5 years. And even though on our account they have our address correct,
It was the credit card company, not
it's
the bank.
it's like, shouldn't there be some communication there?
New tenant's like, woo!
No, it never got activated, so that's good. Two of them went to that address.
So I'm having to do this a little bit left-handed just because so it saves on the screen. Plus, it's a good chance to show off.
Any chance you get to show off.
That's not true.
I see you when the karaoke machine comes out. When we used to be
Only
able to do karaoke.
Only after a couple beers. So I'm just doing the side. I'm starting at the side that's facing the middle of the canvas. So if you're on the left-hand side of your canvas, you're going to be highlighting the right-hand side of your tree. If you're on the right-hand side of the canvas, you're going to be highlighting the left-hand side of the tree.
This is where a flat brush would work really good too.
Yeah, flat brush works really good, but I really like using this. And then there's one other little technique that you're not going to like to see, but you can take your brush and kind of push it. Push it real good. Mm-hmm. To kind of create more edge. Now, if you want to come back now and add, well, see, I look at the monitor again. I always tell you don't worry about the monitor, but and I feel like okay, that's light enough. It doesn't need to be lighter. That's up to you. If you want to add some, bright white, you can. It's just totally not necessary.
Yeah, yours is really light. Mine ended up being a little too lavender. So I actually went through and I added some small pops of white in areas that would maybe be hit with the sun a little.
Yeah, if you were to... Really only this side on the left would get some of that bright pop, but... Up to you. Just added a little extra white for mine just to show you. Alright. That's pretty much it. Except for...
You haven't put a bird on it.
No, I talked about doing our little extra credit highlights. Now these extra credit highlights are something that if your painting is really rough, I don't know that they really help the painting much. I do it on some of the paintings I do in the studio, and sometimes I feel like, oh, it's too much. It's too much bright pop. But let me show you how we're going to do it. I'm just going to keep using my small brush and a little bit of yellow. And I'm just going to think about, okay, there's some light coming through here. Yeah, it still feels too yellow, so I'm going to add just a little bit of red to it too. But really, there's the term of dappled sunlight, right? We've heard that term. And that's really what we want to do with this. We don't want to
dabble it.
Knock the heck out of it with highlights. We just want to kind of dabble some of this in. A little dibble dabble.
Give a little dibble dabble.
Like Hachi's probably is like, good little dibble dabble in my bowl, please.
He talks our dog in that voice, and I hate it. Our dog is like way too smart looking to have that voice.
You know why? It's because he looks like Rudolph.
Rudolph doesn't talk like that.
He does when he has the fake nose on. Hi, I'm Rudolph. Can I play in your reindeer games? Hi, I'm Flasher. Wait, his name's
Flasher.
What's his name? Fireball. Hi, I'm Fireball. Come on, guys.
I don't like you. You've got a weird nose.
Let's let Rudolph go do his own thing.
You know what I hated about that movie is that Santa
was
totally discriminatory.
Well, you do have a red nose, kid.
He's like, well, I'm disappointed in you. From his dad.
That's right.
Who was his dad? What was Rudolph's dad's name?
Was it Donner?
Yes. I'm disappointed in you, Donner. Because your son has a red nose.
Darn it, Donner. I thought you were top of the gene pool.
What the heck? Even as a kid, I was like, that's a mean Santa.
What the heck? It's funny to go back and watch some of those old things. It's like, I was watching.
Oh yeah, totally not politically correct anymore.
Went back and watched some old Brady Bunch with Greta a couple years ago, and I was like, wow, that's sexist.
Completely.
Girls can't accomplish anything. Well, it's true. We can't. It's just like, wow.
Baby talk, baby talk. It's a wonder you can walk. Remember that?
Yeah, what was that
That's when
guy's,
Bobby punched the kid at school because he was making fun of Cindy.
what was that guy's name? It was Billy something. Seesaws by the seashore.
Man,
So if you guys are feeling like
we're off the deep end.
we are,
We are off the deep end.
hey, I'm operating on 3 hours of sleep last night.
It's been a crazy week I've just been, actually even last weekend we just packed and shipped and packed and shipped and packed and shipped, and then we had people messaging, where's my product? Like, trust me, we are burning the midnight oil. Packing and shipping, packing and shipping.
So in doing this, you don't want to bring this band of this brighter highlight. You don't want to wrap it around the curl here. So it's just gonna kind of continue through here. And if you do too much, guess what? You can paint right back over it using your coral or red or orange, whatever you're using. If you've stumbled across us for the first time and you're having a good time watching us be silly, but you want to learn more about painting and you want to know where we get the supplies, we offer these supplies via our website, gobox.com.
And it's spelled like Van Gogh.
GOGHBOX.com. If you have your own supplies and you want to thank us, you can go to I think the link is in the description. You can get Patreon or coffee. Buy us a coffee.
I think Patreon's a thing where you pay a little bit every month.
It is.
But coffee is
like a one-time.
Like, here's $5.
Yeah, last time we got coffee, somebody bought us $25.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I think that's super cool that there is such a thing.
You know, I looked up an interesting stat today. Do you know how of our views? Do you know what percentage of our views are actual subscribers?
No.
12%.
Wow. Yeah,
So,
some people out there who
88%
don't know about it.
88% of the views we get are from people who are not subscribed to the site.
Huh.
So,
Nice.
what's stopping you?
Yeah, what's stopping you? Come on, we got the product. We're packing and shipping all.
No, I'm just talking about watching the videos. You know, if you're watching the videos, subscribe to the channel. We got more coming.
Yeah. We have a goal to put some of our kids' videos on.
Yep.
Because they're fun to paint, and it's like an hour-long video, which is a nice little break from these 2-hour-long paintings.
These 2-hour-long monstrosities.
2-hour tour.
Now, I did not put any of this brighter highlight up in the sky.
Okay.
Okay, up on the clouds, or the trees up above. And I did that for a very specific reason.
Okay.
I forgot. No. No. I didn't forget. The reason I did it, I didn't want to pull the eye away from this area in here. Mm-hmm. So if we put brighter highlights up here, what happens is the eye pops up. So, all right, I'm going to maybe do a little tiny bit right here. This can be, like I said, it can be, it's really aggressive, so you have to be careful not to overdo this.
Well, the nice thing is you can let it dry and come back in with some red, or even like that red and blue mixed together. I've had to do that several times. I've ended up like, I feel like my right side is almost competing with the left side too much. Mm-hmm. Right through here. So I've had to, I'll add the highlights and I'll tone it down. It's just a lot of trial and error testing, like, how will this look?
We'll show you Jenny's in just a minute, and you'll see the instincts between the two of us are completely different, and that's okay. That's not a in any way, shape, or form a shot. It's just we both totally interpret things different. So, like, if you've ever seen me paint one of Jenny's paintings, you can tell it's definitely me who painted it, and if you've seen Jenny paint one of my paintings, you can totally tell it was Jenny that painted it. And that's going to be the case. There's only one teacher at our studio who I have a hard time pinning who did, and that's Annalise.
Yeah, she's.
If I don't see
she
her
can
signature,
she can do either of her styles. She's
Yeah.
magic.
she really she came to us with, she had gone to art school, I believe,
Yeah.
but was more of a photographer, and art, painting, and drawing were more of a just a for fun thing. So a lot of what she's learned has been from us, and you can totally see it. It's like it's a total fusion of our two different styles when she paints something.
And she does amazing low price custom pet portraits.
She does.
I can hook you up. If you are interested, I'll give you her information. Just send us a message and I'll give you her website. I don't take any commission from that. That's all her. She's incredible.
All right.
Okay.
One thing left to do.
Oh, sign it.
You gotta own it. You gotta tell the world I did this.
I made this.
Hi, I'm Paul, and I made this.
I think those are two separate little commercials.
They totally are.
I made this.
All right, I got really out of control with my signature. So that's it. So Jenny, let's bring yours over. And just like, let me get this out of the
Just
way.
side by side.
Yeah, they'll both fit, right?
I think so. Maybe. Yeah, so my right side, I don't like the yellow there.
You know what though? This area,
But I feel like it should be there because the sun is right there.
this area right here is awesome.
That's money.
Yeah, and you got the birds up here too. That's really
Mm-hmm.
cool.
Those birds are just the same color as those background trees.
Yeah, never do blackbirds.
Nope. Unless you're doing bats.
Yeah, well even bats. I think if you can do just a little bit darker than your sky, but the same color as your, excuse me, same
Yeah,
color.
right there.
I'm good. Gotta
Yeah,
be careful with the metal chairs.
My highlights on my trees ended up a little more intense too.
So the difference between yours and mine is that I see that really jumps out, and it's not a good or bad thing, is mine feels like it's much more of an open area, where yours feels like it's cutting
It's
through.
got hurdles.
I wouldn't say hurdles.
I think that's a crossover for my life.
Yeah. No. You can quit.
I have hurdles.
Yours is more like, mine is more, it's more open of an area, where yours is much more, the path is carved through shrubs. And that's, there's nothing
I
wrong
was
with
thinking
that.
those are little landslides of leaves.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. But
So-
yours is really cool. I like yours, Jenny.
Yeah, I like it too. It turned out really good. It's too bad I chose to paint it on a canvas with a cut in it.
That's all right. I know a guy. I can get you another canvas.
Here's the cut. If you were curious, was right here. And
Yeah.
on the back, I just put a little piece of masking tape.
Yeah. All right. So let's zip on back.
Oh, there's the elk. Okay, This one?
Whoa, there we go. Hey, we're back.
we're back.
So thank you
We're painted out.
guys. So again, if you're new, first time checking us out, like the video. Please like the video. That's actually a big thing. I mean, if you're watching the video and
Helps
you're
us
enjoying
gain
it,
some followers.
go ahead and like it, and subscribe. Subscribing is a big part. I mean,
Paul likes watching the numbers go up. It really makes
do.
makes his day. So
yeah, I'm the
like,
right.
subscribe.
Yep. And if you want to click the notification button, ring the bell. So
And we post so we do 2 live videos a month, and then throughout the month we'll do individual projects that are just recorded, and it's usually just me teaching a class or Paul teaching a class. Rarely together for those recorded ones.
well, except for usually the other one of us is in the building, and you're usually saying stuff. to
I
me.
usually heckle you a little bit. So, oops! Oh no! I tried so hard to not get paint on the table. And remember, you're like, you're not going to get paint on the table. Guess what happened? I just
Oh,
got
wow,
paint on
you
the
just
table.
made it
and I
worse.
made it way worse.
So guys, thanks again. We'll see you next month for our live stream. Again, our videos are going to start at...
Oh, let's show the projects.
Yeah, they are going to start earlier.
There. Here's yours.
All right, so here we've got our keyword,
Frozen Twilight.
Frozen Twilight, our keyword gem right here. Yeah. This
And
is-
then mine, you guys will have a birch board, and it's got the Snowman, if you're doing the red truck painting this month, it goes together with this one. So, and I have a red barn that's going to come up as a kit you can purchase too. So, you'll have a set of 3 if you decide you want to do these.
Yeah.
Fun.
Oh, you're gonna do the barn?
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah, I've had some requests for it. So
Yeah, I've seen those requests come in.
Yeah. Sorry.
We both did it.
So actually, those wood boards, Paul had a good point. They store really good for holiday paintings.
They're
you
great
could
for
put them right in
holidays.
your bin. They're not going to get punctured or dented like canvas will. So keep that in mind for your holiday decorations. We are going to get out of here. We had a great time. I enjoyed painting this painting, and I always like doing something that's a little outside of the box for me. And it was good.
Yeah, it's always good. You want to fade us to black, and I'll go kick us off.
All right. Thanks a lot, guys. Hope you enjoy the
Nope,
rest
that
of
one.
your...
Nope, that one.
Okay.
There we go.
The rest of your week. Have a happy Thanksgiving. Thanks again.
Bye.
Bye.
Living la vida loca.
We're still live.
We are.